Hi guys, welcome back to another video on the Ibis page. I'm going to talk you through today how to clean your bike. Although it's the summer, we are having a bit of rain at the moment and yeah, my bike's a little bit muddy, so I'm going to show you. So first things first is take off any computers you might have on your bike. So I'm just going to take off my stage cycling computer. I mean, it is waterproof, but it's best just take it off when you're using high pressured stuff. Hose down the bike. I like to do the wheels first because if you don't do the wheels first, they're usually the muddiest bit. All the mud sprays off onto the clean bit you've already cleaned. So do the wheels first, get the bulk of the mud off, and then work your way down the bike. Once you've given it a good spray down, got rid of all the chunks of muck and that, it's time for the spray. So this stuff is basically bike cleaner, and you just spray it everywhere. It can go on rotors and yeah, let it work its magic. The brush comes in, so I like to wet the brush a little bit first, and then I actually squirt a little bit of extra on there for when I go in for the scrub, and then basically just give it a good scrub everywhere. You'll see that the bike cleaner kind of lavers up a little bit. If it's hot weather, don't let it stay on too long because it'll just dry on your frame basically. Just give it a good brush everywhere. Don't let this, to be honest, I don't really clean my rotors. I just let them drain off with like the water. Because you don't really want to be touching your rotors at all, to be honest, because get a bit of oil on there and then the brakes won't be working very well. Brush change. This is my oily brush, so basically just going to go in on the drivetrain with this. Just give it a good squirt, put a bit on there, and then you can basically get that all over the cassette. And then I like to do that. Get the chain. Make sure you do a couple of cycles through the chain, like top and bottom. So at the bottom like that, and also on top. And then this brush is pretty cool because it's got a little opening. I can actually just do it in between. Jockey wheels and the chain ring. This is all the oily stuff, so all the oily bits, one brush. If they all spray off, this bit's pretty satisfying actually. Spin it round and pretty much do exactly the same on the other side, and then it's time to do the final touches. So once you've sprayed the bike down and you've cleaned it with the bike cleaner, it's time for the guard. This is a protection spray, and basically when you go out on your bike again, if you put this all over your bike, it pretty much just like any mud that goes onto your bike, it just slips off rather than sort of like sticking and making a mess. I get this everywhere but your brakes, pretty much. So if you can put this, it's safe to use on any materials, I'd try and avoid putting it on your brakes. If you do get it on your brakes, it does advise on the bottle that you can just wash it off. I've never had any problems. But pretty much you're just aiming for the bits you want to be shiny, so your frame. You can apply this as well. You can apply it when the bike's wet still. So final touch when you wash your bike is you need to make sure you oil your chain. If you put it in the garage now, you're going to go back to your bike and it's going to have a rusty chain. So I'm basically choosing between a dry lube and a wet lube. This one's super thin and this one's a bit thicker. Choose whatever chain lube you're going to use, just depending on what the weather conditions are and what your trails are like. So I'm going to go for the thin lube. Before you apply the oil, you need to wipe off any excess. So this is just getting rid of any water that's in the chain. You can spin it quite fast, and it's just getting rid of all the water basically. And then open this little nozzle. I like to go back a little bit because these have got quite a big hole on them. And then cycle round. I do one there, and then I tend to do one up here as well. Again, once you've finished putting the oil on the chain, you need to just circle around ever so lightly with your cloth, just to get rid of any excess oil. Basically, if you don't get rid of that excess oil, when you go out on the trail, if it's like dusty for instance, all the dust is going to stick to your chain and it's going to clog up and go all gloopy and horrible. So yeah, that's why you wipe it away. And there we have it, squeaky clean, ready to go riding again.